Hey, hey, hey. How's everybody doing out there? Good to see Mr. Nicky. Nicky, y'all hear me okay? I hadn't been back on this in so long. Is everything working right? See, my background is gone. Let's see here. There we go. Let's put that back. There we got it. All righty. Well, I've been gone for a while, as y'all know. Been trying to handle a bunch of stuff. I have some really good news. We had a real good Christmas. Uh, January the 10th, we close on our new house. Uh, we've been working on that for a while, and so we bought us a house, and we'll be moving starting January 10th. I'm gonna miss being in the country, but couldn't turn down this opportunity. So, uh, but I've been seeing all this going on, with Chris and GS. And I was going to jump in there with Cliff and them, but Cliff's got to call it a night. So we definitely don't want Mrs. Cliff getting upset with us, for sure. Um, you know, Chris, whether you agree with him or you disagree with him, and some people, do either way. I'm one of them. I agree with some stuff he does. I disagree with some things he does. You know, as a person, I like him. You know, I consider him a friend. Uh, he's never done nothing but been nice to me and helped me and been straight with me. Uh, so, but, all of your friends you don't always agree with, you know, uh, that's the beauty of it. That's a friend. You don't have to agree. You can set, and I can tell you as a friend, that, man, you're fucking up, you know, and it don't change our friendship. It's because I care enough to tell you, hello, and tell you the truth. So you don't always have to agree. But hi, Miss Donna. How you doing, Patriot? Glad to see everybody in here coming in. I'm amazed that anybody would for as long as I've been gone. Uh, I know probably y'all read my post on my community page. I am dealing with uh, a disease called lymphedema, and it is in the uh, most advanced stages. Um, it affects your limbs, either your legs or your arms, your hands. In my case, it's my legs. Um, this has been a progressively ongoing thing for a long time. It started out with just like my left foot would swell up every now and then it would go down. And then it got a little more frequent, and then it would went away for a while. This went on for about a year, and then it started moving up my leg. My left leg would swell up to about, 6 or 8 inches below my knee, and it would stay that way 2 or 3 days, and then it would go down. And sometimes it'd be, a month or two, and it would do it again. So this went on for a while. Well, finally, it got to the point where it swole up all the way up to my knee and beyond. And my right leg started doing it, and it never went back down. So they did all kinds of tests, thinking it was fluid and circulation problem, a blockage or something like that. Hey, Brandon, good seeing you. Um, and every test they sent me to have, I passed it. No problem. They couldn't find nothing wrong, no blockage. So they would do ultrasounds and they would do nerve damage tests. Well, then they got to thinking that maybe it was my heart and that the blood was going down, but my heart wasn't strong enough to pump it back up. And so that's what it was. They put me on fluid pills. They did everything, tested my heart, and believe it or not, I got one. And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. So, sweet. Brandon says he got off probation since last we talked. That's awesome. Heck yeah. Congratulations. That's always a good thing. Then my legs started getting like real dry, and the skin started, peeling up and staying. You could put lotion on it and rub it all in, and it would, an hour later, it looked the same way. And Bree was, putting lotion and Vaseline and everything to moisturize my skin. And it just doesn't help. It just keeps on. It just absorbs it in and goes on. And then little blisters started forming. And then they would break and they would drain. Well, that's the stage 4 that I'm at now. And there is treatment, and I'm getting into the treatment program that they can do to help it, but there's no way to cure it. From the things I've read about it, it has to do with the lymphatic system, your lymph nodes, the fluid that usually is transferred through your lymph nodes, takes out like viruses and infection. And my body can't do that. And they say that that's one of the side effects of having cancer. And in 2007, I had kidney cancer, and they removed my kidney and got it all out. So I lead to think that may have been what caused it. So, but that's had me really tied up lately, and that's why I haven't been on. It's real painful, and I've had to go through a lot of different treatments and stuff. So that's where I've been. But I have missed everybody. I've appreciate the messages and the comments. I've gotten all of them from everybody, and the support, the phone calls. So don't think at all that I've forgotten everybody. I just been really busy. But in the middle of all that going on, I filled out this thing online about using a VA loan, a homeowner's loan. And I had never checked into it in the past. At one time, somebody told me some bullshit that wasn't true, that I found out later, but at the time, that there was a period that they had done away with it, and that I fell in that period, so I didn't qualify. So, hey, Miss Stephanie, howdy, and happy anniversary to Mr. and Mrs. Nikki. How many years are we looking at here? 23 years. Congratulations. Awesome. That's a milestone for sure. A lot of marriages don't last anymore. Bree and I are going on. Let's see, she moved here in 2002. We got married in 2004. So this is what, going 25, so 21 years, and been together 24. So, but yeah, I filled out this application, and this dude called me up, started taking some information, and come back and said that I was pre-approved for a VA loan of $185,000, and hooked me up with a real estate agent. We looked at several houses. We actually tried a couple different ones that we first saw and liked, and we put in offers on, and then they ended up taking a different offer, and we didn't get them. But then we found this one. It's a real nice little house on a corner lot. It's right at a quarter acre, a fenced-in backyard, so I can let the dogs, have the whole backyard to run. It's got a privacy fence between us and the neighbors, so the dogs can be at peace. And it's a real nice little house, and we put in an offer, and paperwork all went through, and we closed on it on January 10th. So there'll be a time period around there that I'll be off of the air for a while until I get moved and everything hooked back up and everything turned on. So, but we're real tickled about that. Hell yeah. 23 years, that's a long time. Yeah. You got to give him credit there for putting up with Nikki that long. Show me says, Mr. Nikki, you are a saint. Just saying, how long you've been locked down. Thank you, Miss Donna. Yeah, we're definitely excited about it. Yeah, that's a fact. Nikki says he has to be a saint to put up with me. Mo knows some of the people I grew up with. Yeah. That's definitely an elite crowd. Oh. The one in particular, he's a handful to keep up with all by himself. But I sure love him, though. He's a good old boy. I'll tell you, was talking about me having cancer. I went in for surgery at 5 o'clock in the morning in Nashville. And when when we walked into the waiting room, Jeff was sitting there already. He had already got there ahead of us, and he was there to see me before I went into surgery. That's the kind of friend he is, and well, not a friend, but a brother, a real true brother. He is. I love him to death. But he's a hard one, boy. He's a handful. In fact, I got a tattoo. You can't hardly see it right here. There's 4 letters inside that tattoo. It says OBDF, and they're in Old English, and it stands for one big dysfunctional family. The bar that we used to work at, I was the head of security there, and he was one of the bouncers. And that's what it said. Excuse me. That's what it said on the back of our security shirts was one big dysfunctional family. So when we left, we all had this tattoo, OBDF, and there's 8 of us that's got it, and he's one of them. But we had some knockdown dragouts at that bar. A lot of fun days. Oh, right. Well, let's get down to some of the discussions tonight. I've been keeping up with things. I'm not totally been oblivious. I've jumped into some of the chats a few times and said hello, as y'all know, and have been listening to a lot of things. I'll take it one subject at a time. Starting, like I said, with Chris. Uh, you know, Chris is a good old boy. That's just what it boils down to. That's the kind of person he is. He's uh, just a blue collar American, and the day that he walked in to get his records. Now this is the first time that I actually got involved with all of it. This is why I got involved with all of it. Um, you know, we had just started watching YouTube, and we were, following a few people. In fact, Direct D was one of the first ones that we started watching, and followed him quite a lot. Him and uh, uh, oh, Delete Laws. We used to watch a lot of him until we realized that he's completely full of shit. But we caught a few of Chris and Tiffany, and we started watching them. And we hadn't been watching them very long. We just had been watching them maybe a week or two. And that day that they went into Meade County. Now, I don't care who you are, right, wrong, indifferent. The facts are the facts. That day, she was playing a live stream. So we all know that everything we heard was straight from the horse's mouth. It was unedited, it was untouched. It was happening right then. And so you cannot deny the facts. Now, when Chris walked in, he set that camera down on the counter. He started talking to the girl. The girl had no problem with the camera. She never said anything about it. It never affected her. He was totally professional and polite. He was asking for his records. He was going over it. He was asking her questions, and she was helping him. And she was in no way was he being belligerent towards her or a jerk or anything. They were doing just regular business. And then the other one comes up and says, quit helping him. And that's when it all kicked off, which was no reason for that one to come up and do it. Everything was going fine. Everything was happening smooth. There was no problem. Yeah. Donna says she still has nightmares. I mean, everything was going fine. Well, then Barney Fife comes in, and you can tell from the very second he come in there cocky, with his chest all puffed up, looking, I don't want to say looking for a fight, but he's looking for a fight. He come in there looking for trouble, expecting trouble. Yeah. Chris reached out to shake his hand. He shook his hand in response. And then with that old lean back, well, I'll tell you, if I tell you have to leave, these girls, you got to go, then you got to go. Yeah. And maybe the whole reason is because you got them cameras in their face. That's the thing that bugs me more than anything to hear. And every fucking body says it. Get that camera out of my face. Well, this is in your face. This is pointed at you. Get it fucking real. But anyway, then Chris pissed him off when he told him, you just need to be dismissed and go on. Get on out of here. Well, that pissed him off. And so that's when he starts to arrest him. Well, now Chris set his stuff down and he put his hands behind his back and he, said, different things, but he didn't resist, And another thing, just let me step back a second too. When I said about them coming in there and being polite and being professional, when Tiffany was live streaming and that other young man came in to the office, without being asked or anything, she took it upon herself to do the right thing and step out because she knew she was live streaming and any of his information could have done it. So she did the responsible thing without anybody asking her, without anybody telling her. She did what she should have done and exactly what needed to be done. So let me get back now to the whole arrest. Once he started in on Tiffany, his whole demeanor changed. He became very, very aggressive. With Chris, he walked up and just put his hands behind her. And this Miss Knox had stood there the whole time, letting him manhandle Tiffany and just watching. She was the female officer on the scene. She should have been the one to take Tiffany into custody. Now, yeah, Tiffany did pull away and fight back and resist. And whenever he started hurting Tiffany, Chris pushed himself in between to try and protect his woman. Well, what man wouldn't? You're a chicken shit if you wouldn't have. If you'd stood there and let some other man rough up your woman and stand there with your hands cuffed and watch it and not do anything, then you're a pure chicken shit. Bottom line. But Chris did what any man should have done. And yeah, they throwed on, charges that he assaulted Barney Fife and whatever. But, you come back to the question of if the arrest was not an unlawful arrest to start with, do you have the right to resist it? And that's a question that, we've all asked and has been asked many times. And, truthfully, it should be. If you're not in the wrong and you're not in the wrong, what you've done is within the limits of the law, then, you should be able to say no. You know, I'm not, you know, but, that's the society we live in. Yeah. Whether you're right or wrong, you're wrong. We're not in the innocent until proven guilty anymore. Now you're guilty till you're proven innocent. And that's the way it's been for a long time. Uh, but then we heard Barney Fife say out of his mouth that he was going to hold their cameras and their video until after they saw the judge. Now, bottom line, that's withholding evidence from the judge. When Chris said that when the judge sees this video, and then he says, I'm holding it until afterwards. So he had openly admitted that he was going to commit a crime, withholding evidence or tampering with evidence. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that is a felony. But I could be wrong, but I think it is. I'm not the smartest tool in the shed. So, but bottom line is that Chris and them got screwed over by Meade County, plain and simple. They got wrongly arrested. They got wrongly taken to jail. And then when they got out on probation or when they got bailed out, got out on bond, I'll get the words out right in a minute. When they got out on bond, when they released them, they were supposed to release all of their personal items that they took with them at the time of the arrest. Now, if anything that they arrested them with was evidence, then they could hold it. But they had to submit a warrant to hold it as evidence in order to do that. And they didn't do it. And they kept all their shit under the pretense that it was going to be used as evidence. This is the same evidence that he just openly said that he was going to keep the judge from seeing. So, is it evidence or is it not evidence? Make up your damn mind. So that was where they screwed him around. It was bullshit. They did all of that. And then JJ jumps all in. And from the beginning, JJ said that Ray Wyatt's his buddy, his friend, and that he'd back him to the gates of hell. And so he sees Michael Kaiser as an opportunity to jump onto the Chris Ryder bandwagon, and he does, and he's using the hell out of dipshit in order to promote his cause, and his whole cause is out of sight, out of mind. Put up a smoke screen and take it away, the attention off of Ray Wyatt, and let's put it over here on Chris. And so, let's totally do everything we can to make Chris look bad so that Ray Wyatt will look good. Now, Chris is his own worst enemy because he wants to be open with everybody. And so he talks all the time about let's see, Donna says I still don't understand why the Sheriff Wimpy isn't putting a stop to all this. What does Whitehead have on Wimpy? Well, I mean, that's a good question. Um, it's very possible that he does have something on him. You know, we all know that, about Wimpy's son. Um, and Wimpy ain't no, squeaky clean himself. We've seen his sister. She's a freak. But the thing about it is you got to think too. This is a small Kentucky community, all right. And I grew up in Kentucky. Now I grew up in Hopkinsville, which is a bigger city. It's the fifth largest in the state. But I was stationed at Fort Knox, and I spent a lot of time in Radcliffe and Muldroff and Elizabethtown and all up and around Meade County and Hardin County and all up in there. So it's the good old boy system is what it is. And that's the same reason that my brother's keeper and all those bunch from Carrollton it's a good old boy system. You're pissing on our sheriff. You're talking shit about him. So we're going to defend him. Whenever they went to Carrollton and raised hell about that sign being up, because of the Carrollton sheriff hiring that deputy, well, they all jumped to defend their sheriff and their deputy and everything with the good old boy system. And so Chris now is, Satan, because you come into our little town and said our sheriff is a jackass and we'll be damned. And that's just the mentality that's the way those small towns there are. That's how they all are. They're just a bunch of good old boys, and they're farmers, they're factory workers, they're coal miners, you know, and they're just good old boys. I can't say it enough any other way. If you don't know what a good old boy is, Google it. But they're all going to back each other to the fucking last dying breath. So Wimpy ain't going to come out and say that his right hand man done something wrong. He's going to go to the bat for him, and the criminal justice system in Kentucky is fucked up anyway. I mean, look, you got all this shit going on up there. Now you also got the other sheriff that shot the judge, and that was over a sex racket that was going on years ago in the judge's chambers. It's just crazy. The justice system in Kentucky is fucked up. I mean, it really is. When I was growing up, we had a sheriff, black guy who, Louisville. Yes, man. Exactly. Louisville's been, oh my God, can't go on about it. But we had a sheriff who, when I was a kid, everybody loved him. He was a good sheriff, did a good job. Everybody backed him, and all this, he was a big old guy, had a big old head on him and kind of scary looking. Well, come to find out eventually that he was taking drugs and from West, giving them to his brother who lived in the next town over, in a little old bitty town population probably 700-800, and was selling the pot and everything there that the sheriff was taking out of the holdings and giving to his brother to sell, putting it back on the street, busting them over here, sending them to jail, taking their dope, putting it back out on the street, and collecting the money. And then when they finally busted him, there had been about 5 years back from the time they busted him out, there was a murder that took place in uptown part of town, big money part of town, and it was an execution style murder. 2 people were put back to back, tied in chairs, shot, killed, and then their house burnt down. And the case never was solved. Never could figure it out. Never had no suspects, no evidence, no nothing. And when they arrested the sheriff, they caught him with some of the jewelry that was missing from that house, from that man. So, come to find out, he was involved in something to do with that too. So, I mean, it's just been that way all along. It's all crooked as hell. Just small town, good old boy, crooked cops. So that's exactly what's going on there in Meade County. And I guarantee you that they've all been down to the prosecutors and said, we got to get this guy. We need to put attention on this guy. I'll guarantee you, JJ's been down there. What can we, what can we dig up? What can we use? What can we do? Dig out the law books. Let's look, let's find anything that we can come up with. That's like him trying to charge Finkel with racketeering. I mean, just he's throwing anything against the wall, see if it'll stick. And he's riding Kaiser's coattails because Kaiser is all on Chris. So, people say Chris plays the victim card. Well, damn, I think he is a victim because he's got everybody on him constantly, digging at him, rooting at him, pulling everything, trying to discredit him every possible way they can, and Chris tries to defend it, everything that people say and do, and then he'll get flustered and he'll say something wrong, and then they'll take that out of context, and it just goes on and on and on. And Tiffany, Donna says, JJ's walls have grease on them. Nothing's going to stick. Tiffany's, bless her heart, Kaiser and them, they get on and they accuse Chris of talking about women and downgrading women. And they talk about how he talked to Navy Girl and how he talked to Nerd Girl Jen. And every breath is Tifilus, Tifaho, tip of this, tip of that. The girl has not done a damn thing to deserve that kind of treatment. You talk about how women deserve more respect than that. Well, what you're preaching is right, but you need to practice what you preach. Women do deserve more respect than that. They don't need to be talked to like that. And that's the thing I got against Kaiser is his attacks on Tiffany, his criminal background, the fact that I'm convinced that he shot Donald. The evidence has me convinced of it. you know. And the fact that he is getting over on internet, on YouTube, making a good living at it, it sickens me. Hanky Panky says, makes me sick what them grubs say. That's right. I agree. I hope it hardly, because they sit there and they say one thing, they say, women deserve to be treated better and they deserve to be, treated with respect. And then they down Tiffany with every breath. And the whole pickle thing, that's about as childish as anything I have ever seen in my life. The fact that she said, you're going to be in a pickle. Well, I mean, would they rather said, you're fucking up? She was trying to make a point without being, vulgar, but they've taken it and turned it all around and made it all a big joke. Use it as sex toys and put it on a reciprocating saw and dressing up as a pickle. And then Todd's dumbass, what he dressing up like Bob the Builder, yeah. Got dressed up out there like Bob the Builder with his little toolkit. Donna says, isn't Kaiser's income going to go against him when it comes to getting a public defender? I would think so. I would. I mean, he's going to have to disclose, his income. So yeah, I would think it's going to affect it. Everybody's looking forward to February 5th, and so am I. But I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. And I hope I'm wrong. And I want to go and be there, but I'm pretty convinced that what I'm going to say is right, is what's going to happen. Because his lawyers done backed off and went and dropped him. So he's going to have to get another lawyer. One of two things. He's going to show up with a new lawyer who's going to say, I just got this. TV says that he already has a public defender. How you doing, TV? I didn't see you sneak in. Well, either way, if he has an attorney, the attorney's going to walk in and say, Judge, I just got started on all this and I'm going to need some more time. And he's going to postpone it. Or he's going to walk in without a lawyer and say, Judge, I had a lawyer. The lawyer, dismissed. I'm trying to get another one. I need an extension. So I think no matter what happens on February 5th, he's going to get another extension one way or another. So I'm torn on whether or not I should spend the money to go down there because or not, because I'm pretty convinced that it'd be a wasted time. But then again, it'd probably be worth it to sit there and just see him up before the judge, face to face. That in itself too is an awful tempting idea. So who knows? We'll see. I may be still busy trying to move in my house February 5th. I don't know. But Kaiser is just a fucking waste of oxygen, really. I mean, I can't all of his bullshit, stolen valor, all his claims of this and military and all, and the worthless piece of shit never even made it out of boot camp. Now, talking about military, I'm going to say something on that too. I've been listening to a lot of people, getting on to Todd. All right. And I don't particularly care for Todd very well. In the beginning, I met him. We sat down and ate at a table together, talked. I had a funny vibe about him. I couldn't put my finger on it, but something just didn't sink there. But then when I opened my channel up, I went over on his channel, was on several of his panels. And after I listened to, his message and things he was doing, I disagreed with him. So I quit going over there. I didn't say, hey, I don't think you're right. I ain't coming back here no more. I just quit going. Some of the things he did, some of the ways he treated people, some of the things he said and done towards women, I didn't like. His preaching out of one side of his face and cussing and damning and being a total jerk out the other side. If you're if you're a Christian and you profess to be a Christian, and you are trying to make an example towards other people, then set the example. Don't sit there and be a hypocrite. And that's exactly the way I felt about it. So I quit going. But a lot of people have been giving him a bunch of shit about his military service and being a veteran. Now, that pisses me off. I don't like seeing that. When you take an oath to join the military, when you join the military and you take your oath and you raise your hand and you say, I swear to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. One of the other things that you do is you swear to uphold the orders of the officers appointed above you. So, any man who puts his name on that contract. How you doing, Ian? And all immunity in the house. Good to see you. Good to see you. Anyone who raises their hand and takes that oath, at that time, they are signing a blank check payable to the United States of America up to and to include their life for the American people, for the Constitution, for the flag, for God and country. And just because someone never went into combat and didn't serve in combat, I do not think should be looked down on and be discouraged towards, because had they been ordered to go, had an officer above them gave them orders to go, they would have went. but they were never told to go. I served through the early 80s and on into the early 90s, coming out of the end of the Vietnam era. There was no conflicts. Now, I was in reserves when Desert Storm broke out, and I stepped forward, volunteered, and went back active and served during, 3 months during Desert Storm. But had that not happened, then I would have never been called to serve. All I would have ever done was trained. So a lot of people never went into combat. All through the 80s, the people that was in were never in any combat because there was never any. But they were there. They put on their uniform every day. They laced up their boots, and they went out there and they stood and said, I'm here to defend this country if the need be. And for that, they deserve that respect. And they are veterans, period. Now, you've got guys who now today who are going over and fighting in urban environments, going door to door, kicking indoors, in firefights, almost as bad as it was during Vietnam. And my hat's off to every one of them. And they deserve the praise. So it just gripes my ass whenever somebody, starts saying that a veteran, because he didn't go overseas, wasn't a veteran or didn't deserve it. Because if they had been ordered to, they would have. So that's my preaching on that part of it. Now, if you're sitting around telling a bunch of bullshit that you did, fought in Tora Bora, and you got 2 Purple Hearts, and was in a Humvee and shot with a RPG and all that kind of shit, then you're shitting on the guys that really did do that. The guys that fought in Tora Bora, the guys who are there today, going out on fire missions, in 8-10 man, squad, doing patrols and having each other's back. That's another thing is that the military taught me, is I'm sorry. I just now was reading back. Donna said, of course, I'd have to buy a gun and bullets first. Do guns come in pink? And yes, they do come in pink. pink, purple, green, blue. Bree has a pink 9mm. Yeah. Of course they do. Pink, purple, yellow, just about any color your little heart desires. Oh. Hanky says the difference with Todd is that he demands to be thanked for his service and has told stories that were not true. But I respect all that has served, even Todd. And you're right. And that's where he stepped on his yin yang when he's telling fish tales. It was this big. And when you do that and you get called out on it, then you got to, eat the crow. And I got off track. I lost my train of thought there for a minute. You're right, though. Todd does demand it, and that's one of the things that irks me about Todd is that he promotes it that everyone should thank him for his service. I have a shirt that says it, I think, quite well. It says that Veterans Day is for me. Memorial Day is for my brothers and sisters who never returned. Don't thank me, thank them. And most all veterans appreciate it when someone says, thank you for your service. They appreciate it, but they don't need it. They don't expect it. And Todd does. I feel a little strange when people say, thank you for your service. I mean, I really don't know how to respond to it. I just kind of say thank you and walk off. Because I don't need a thanks for it. I didn't do it for a thank you. I did it because I felt the calling to do it, that it was the right thing to do. I was a military brat. I grew up around the Army my entire life. My dad was in the 101st Airborne during Vietnam. He was in Vietnam in '66 and part of '67 when it was the worst of the worst. My uncle was in the Navy. My father-in-law was a Marine. So, I mean, if you cut me, I bleed OD green. I've just always been around the military. It's been a part of my life. So when I turned 18, I was a young, dumb punk kid. I had no direction in mind of where to go and what to do. I was out of high school and had no intentions of going to college, no desire to go. So it just seemed like the logical thing for me was join the Army. So, that's what I did. And I'm glad. Donna says, my father was told thank you for your service when he hitched rides home from Korea. Yeah, Korea was one that you don't hear a lot of talk about. It was a conflict that is kind of cast off in the shadows behind, Vietnam and World War II and all. But it was a very terrible war. Korean veterans went through real hard times. I wanted to go to Korea. I never got to, but I wanted to go. I was a tanker. So being a tanker, there's not a lot of glorious places to go. But I wanted to go to Korea. I tried, but I never got to. But one thing the military really taught me is teamwork. And I don't see color. You don't see race. They say you don't see race in a foxhole. Well, you don't see race in a tank either. Inside that tank, you have 4 people who work like the fingers on your hand to make that piece of equipment function at its top performance. And it's an amazing piece of equipment. I'm so proud to say that I served in an Abrams tank, the baddest piece of equipment on today's battlefield. Yeah, Korea. I heard it's just like Fort Lost in the woods. Hot as hell in the summer, freezing cold in the winter, and lots of field time, at least in the 90s. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep. I imagine you're probably about right. But I'm fascinated with Asian culture and Asian foods, and also I wanted to get a chance to spend a little time in China or Asian countries, and Korea's pretty much it for a tanker. So. Donna says, my father was USMC for almost 25 years. He was at the Chosin Reservoir in Korea Infantry and a recruiter in Vietnam. Yeah, Chosin Reservoir was a very, very gruesome area. Show Me Auto says, I wanted Germany, never got there, but was where I wanted. Well, you should have been a tanker. Germany is second home to tankers. Or it used to be anyway. I don't know anymore. I can't say nowadays. But through the 80s, Germany was it. But it was a different time then. We were training for the Soviet battle doctrine. We were training to fight in greenery and, not in deserts. Perfect example is when Carter tried to go in and rescue the hostages, and those choppers sucked up all the sand. Nothing was designed for deserts. We didn't train for desert war. We trained for a repeat of World War II, European theater. But I had a lot of fun in tanks, because you can do a lot of shit. You can tear up a lot of shit, and you can tear up a tank pretty easy too. You'd think that it was pretty indestructible, but it ain't. It's actually pretty damn fragile. You can break a track easy as hell. You can get stuck in a mud puddle. I was doing some training, and we went down into a low area below the horizon, and in a lower deficit, using the terrain for cover. And we got down in this little low area, and it had been raining. It was grassy, and got ready to pull out, and had a young driver, and was inexperienced, and tank commander told the driver to move out, and he did it. And we were sitting inside that low area of high grass that was wet, and when he goosed it, the track broke free and started spinning. And the moment it started spinning, it started digging, and it just sunk it right down to halfway up the track in no time. Cost us a case of beer to get pulled out by one of the other tanks. But that's how quick you can get in trouble in one. I used to love watching trainees go out and break trail. Use a tank to knock down some trees and stuff and break trail. And always there'd be one that would run up and slam into a tree real hard. Small tree, maybe 8-10 inches in diameter. And front end of that tank is a sharp wedge. And when you hit a tree like that with that wedge on that front slope, it's just like hitting it with an axe. And they'll snap that tree off, and that some bitch will fall back on top of the tank. And you got some bunch of privates out there driving around trying to move with this tree laying on top of them. And you look like a moving bush. Yeah. When you're supposed to go up against it, put the front slope against the tree, and then gas it and push the tree over. But there's always a young dumbass that'll ram into it real hard and snap it and bust everybody's mouth against the hatch. And it's always some crazy shit. But they're a lot of fun. 12 Bravo was my first MOS. We were supposed to make obstacles to stop those big bastards. Yeah. It's not an easy thing to do. When they get rolling, they're rolling. I served on quite a few tanks. I started out on the M48A5. Then I was on the M60, M60A1, A2, A3, the M1, M1A1, and M1A2. So I've seen my share. But yeah, Todd likes to pat himself on the back. That's his problem.
And the way he talked to Izzy was
Say again?
The way he talked to Izzy.
The way he talked to who? Izzy. Oh, yeah. Bree said, and the way he talks to Izzy was absolute bullshit. Yeah, but he talks to all women like that. He talks down. You know, that was like the day that we first met, and there was a waitress that he was giving a problem to. And all immunity says hello, Bree. She said hi. She's doing her diamond art. She got started into doing that again, and it's got her occupied with it. You got to have some patience for that stuff. But everybody's saying hi. Show me audits, Donna. She said hi to everybody. She don't have it on to see the chat. Nikki said hi. She's sitting across the room from me. We're so excited. Yeah, I will. When she finished it, I'll show you some. She just got started back doing it again, so she hadn't finished any yet. But yeah, I'll show you some of them when she finishes them. She got our granddaughter some to hold all the stuff too for Christmas, because my granddaughter's real artistic, very artistic. She draws amazing for 10 years old. It's great to see her. Donna wants to know, did I ever send a follow-up letter to Kaiser's neighbors? No, I never did. I just sent the first one. I felt like that was all that needed to be done. I made them aware of what's going on. And I loved his story. That dumb son of a bitch about he had a cookout and all the neighbors came over and he told them all everything, and that they had a barbecue, and that most of them were cops. There's like 5 of them on the street with cops. Show Me says, the way he came at Nikki turned me off, Todd. Back at the very start, I think I told Nikki I was there because she was there. True story. Exactly. He did. He talked down to Nikki bad. That was one of the things that I had a problem with. He's condescending when he talks to women. Yeah. Show Me audits. Yes, he did. And thank you for your support. I did try to make him a better person. Yes, Nikki actually, I mean, he'll deny it and say it, but Nikki deserves the credit for getting his channel started and going. He wasn't doing shit till she started in helping him. So. Reese Donna says, recently I heard that Kaiser is living with his aunt, not his mother. Supposedly his aunt raised him. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what everybody's
saying. That's the rumor. Show me audits. Nikki is a unicorn. uh, I ain't even going to touch that one. Donna says, recently I heard that Kaiser's living with his. Yeah, we already talked about that one. Okay. Kaiser. Kaiser fell into a bucket of shit and come out smelling like a rose, is what happened with him. You know, when Fraud Troll outed him and he was outcast and he knew it. If you listen to the things he says and talks about, you can understand everything. And that's the thing that gets me about his little group of followers. Is they're just blind to trying to to see his flaws. You know, it's a cult. You know, Bree said he's a cult leader. That's right. Because at the time he got burnt, he thought it was over. And he said that he was in a down spot in a bad place. And he jumped on the Chris Ryder bandwagon and started in on it and started using that to build up on. And all these idiots, you know, flock to him. And he says, you know, I admitted to everything I did. I've told the truth. I was guilty, but I've changed. Well, the only thing that he's admitted to is the shit he was caught at. He ain't never confessed to anything just to do it. The only thing he said I did, and I'm sorry I did, is the shit that was already brought out that he was burned on. Yeah. It's so transparent to see it all. That these idiots, you know, believe that he's a changed person. He's not. He's a puppet master pulling the strings and playing it along. And all these simple-minded individuals that just hate Chris so bad that they want to flock to any hope of someone agreeing with them. Nikki says, show me audits. He said that I am a unicorn, meaning one of a kind, and that I am all his. Oh, that's so sweet. That's a good man. That's a good man. Smart man. And for those, you'll notice, Dr. Pepper Zero, I'm still watching my sugar and doing good. I've actually been off my insulin now for about 3 months. So, Mr. Nicky for the win. Absolutely. Kaiser is a sociopathic narcissist. Amen. If you look it up in the book, there'll be a picture next to it.
He's institutionalized
Huh?
I said he's institutionalized.
Bree says he's institutionalized. Yeah, he needs to be institutionalized. He needs to be locked up and thrown away the damn key. Show me all says Mr. Nicky is well trained. Nicky says not well trained. He knows where his bread is buttered. That's right. After 23 years, he knows. Yeah. Like I said, we've been together 21 years, and I can read her mind, and she can read mine. There's a lot of times, we'll make plans on something and go to say something to the other one, and the other one say, I was already thinking about that, Oh. Yeah. Amen. Happy wife, happy life. Endall says, I'm sorry, Bree, that you have to put up with me for 21 years. She's a saint, that's for sure. Yeah, I said about T-shirts that I was a while ago. I said I had a T-shirt that said that about veterans. I also have a T-shirt that says, God knew I needed an angel, so he sent me my wife. And she is. She is. She has definitely been there to take care of me. More ways than I can ever count. So, we met on the internet. In fact, she was in California and I was in Tennessee, and we started talking in an AOL chat room called Biker Bar. And we talked and got to know each other, exchanged phone numbers, and started talking. And she flew out here to visit for a weekend. And then she went back home, put in her 2 weeks' notice, and packed up a van and drove here from California, from 29 Palms, California. She left at 5 o'clock on Saturday morning, stopped in Oklahoma City, got a room. Her daughter locked the keys in the van, had to call a locksmith to get the keys out, had to wait for a locksmith to come, got back in the van, and pulled into Tennessee 5 o'clock on Sunday night from 29 Palms, California. That bitch was rolling. Awesome. Yes, it is. And 21 years now we've been married. So I talked up a good game to get her to move from California to here.
And
She
I'm actually a real person.
she said, and I'm a real person too. She really is. And all of you said, no grass growing on those wheels. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. She was rolling. I would talk to her on the phone and she'd say, I'm in Arizona. And a few hours later, I'd talk to her and, I'm in Missouri, I was like, damn. Oh. Miss Donna says, my dad was stationed in 29 Palms. 3 of my sisters were born in Palm Springs. Back then, that was the closest hospital. Yeah. From what I understand, 29 Palms is pretty small. But I was never at 29 Palms, but I was at NTC, the National Training Center at Fort Irwin, which is just a stone's throw over from 29 Palms. It's in the middle of the Mojave Desert, too. Yeah. I can't imagine anybody wanting to live in the middle of the damn desert. It just don't make sense to me. It's the ugliest damn thing. Hot during the day and cold at night. Show Me Audit says, I've been with my lady since 2008. Met on Facebook game. Not married yet, but maybe this summer. There you go. Good luck to you. Good luck to you. It's amazing the people that you'll find on the internet, couples that have met on the internet and worked it out. I think that one of the reasons that we have been together so long and is because we became friends, first, before any dating or anything. We talked and we corresponded and that went on for about a year, so we got to be good friends and got to know each other inside before we really met outside. So I think that's the key to our success. And it's time for the big pumpkin to turn it in. Miss Nikki says it's time for me to go to bed. I'll be watching for you all. Have a great night. Good night, Miss Nikki. And it's great to talk to you again. See you again. Thank you for the Christmas messages. I hope y'all had a great Christmas. And again, happy anniversary. So, well, I think on that note too, I'm going to go ahead and call this an end. It's been really great seeing all of y'all. And I'll be back on again soon. Y'all take care. God bless. And I'll see you next time. Good night.